Hi boys! Today we're going to make nothing cookies. And first I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of nothing cookies. One day you guys were very little and I was looking through the pantry of things to throw together to make cookies, and I just kind of put this together, and your cousin Zachary came over and said, "Oh, these are great, what are they called?" And I said, "Oh, they're just nothing." So then he came over the next week and said, "Can I have some more of those nothing cookies?" And so that's how nothing cookies were born. So today we are going to make nothing cookies. So let's first talk about the ingredients that we're going to need to make these. Remember that we're baking, and so of course our number one ingredient is going to be flour. Okay, you're also going to need baking soda, salt. You're going to need a half a stick of margarine. You're also going to need shortening. Now I have this in this great little packaging that actually has measuring along this side. Get these instead of the tubs because it's much easier to cut out exactly how much you're going to need. You're also going to need white sugar, and you're going to need brown sugar, and you're going to need only one egg. And as I recall, I did this recipe because I only had one egg left, so that's why it only has one egg left in it. And then last but not least, and I have to reach into my cupboard for this, you're going to need vanilla. Okay, let's talk about the tools that you're going to need to make these. You're going to need one large mixing bowl, one medium-sized mixing bowl. You're going to need your measuring cups, your measuring spoons, hand mixer, or I have a stand mixer that I'm going to use. You're going to need parchment paper. Again, don't confuse this with wax paper. Wax paper, if you try this, it's going to start a little fire in your oven, and that's bad. And then last but not least, you're going to need your cookie sheets. So go ahead and get that together, and go ahead and preheat your oven to 375, and then we'll get started. Okay, so we're going to start with our dry ingredients, and our first ingredient is going to be the flour. So go ahead and get your 1 cup measure and put in 1.5 cups of flour into your smaller mixing bowl, okay? There is 1, and then there's the half. Okay, and then get out your baking soda and your half teaspoon measure, and go ahead and add a half a teaspoon of the baking soda. And then using your salt, use a half a teaspoon of the salt, and go ahead and mix that up really good. Now I'm going to give you a really good hint. This is something that my dad taught me. As you're cooking, when you're done with something, put it up. So I'm done with the salt, I'm going to put that back in the cupboard. I'm done with the baking soda, I'm putting that up too. I'm also going to put my flour up. Now, this kind of works two ways. First thing is, it gets your work area cleaned up. Also, it ensures that you've added all the ingredients that you're supposed to your recipe. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll get started on our wet ingredients. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our wet ingredients. And the first thing I want you to do is add a half a stick of the butter, okay? A half a stick equals a 1/4 cup. So go ahead and put that in the bowl, and then I want you to add a 1/4 cup of your shortening. So find the measuring on the side and measure out a 1/4 cup, and that should be 4 tablespoons. So go ahead and do that and throw that in there. And then you're going to add a half a cup of white sugar. So here's my half cup measure. I'm going to dip that in, do a half cup, throw that in there, and then I want you to add a 1/4 cup of the brown sugar. And if you remember, with the brown sugar, you want to pack it down really good to make sure you have a whole 1/4 cup, okay? So I have that in a larger bowl, and then I want you to do is use your mixer and go ahead and blend those ingredients until they're blended really well, and then we'll be back. Okay, now we're going to add the final 2 ingredients to your wet mix. The first one is going to be your egg, so go ahead and crack that in there really good. Make sure you don't leave any pieces in there. And then go ahead and get your vanilla out, and I want you to put 1 teaspoon of vanilla in there. Okay, so we're going to do that. There's the 1 teaspoon. Then I want you to turn your mixer back on, mix that really good, and then we'll be back. Okay, so now what I want you to do is take your smaller bowl of dry ingredients and pour half of it into your larger bowl that you're using to mix. Mix it really well, and then add the rest of the dry ingredients and mix that really well. And then I want you to do is take that big bowl, and I want you to put it in the freezer for 15 minutes, okay? And while that's hardening up and getting nice and stiff, I want you to clean up your work area, okay? And then we'll be back. Okay, so my timer's gone off, and I've taken my cookie dough out of the freezer, And this is what it looks like. It's kind of hard looking. This is what you want, okay? So I've taken a teaspoon out of my silverware drawer, and I'm putting just about this much on the teaspoon, and then I'm going to put it on the cookie sheet in a little ball, about 1 inch apart. So your cookie sheet should look about like this. Now, just kind of a little side note on this. This recipe doesn't make a lot of cookies. It made just about enough cookies to feed little boys for an afternoon. So go ahead and do that, and then go ahead and put your cookie sheets into the oven. Set your timer for 10 minutes. Halfway through, at 5 minutes, get your oven mitt out or your pot holders. Turn those cookie sheets just halfway so make sure that everything bakes evenly. And then at 10 minutes, let's pull them out and see how they look. Okay guys, so my timer's gone off. Let's take a look at my cookies, see how they look. Look at this. Now look up close. You see how they're kind of browned and they're kind of cracked? That shows me they're done. Now if your timer goes off and they don't quite look like that, go ahead and put them back in the oven. Set your timer for about another 2 minutes and then pull them out then. Okay, so this particular cookie recipe makes, I figured, about 2 dozen cookies. So not a lot, but enough. I hope you guys enjoy eating them. And remember how much your mom loves and misses you, and I'm proud of you each and every day. And I can't wait to see you guys again.